Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another Etheria restart video, and we've got a huge week for Etheria restart coming up. Maybe the most important week for this game since the launch of the game, because it's our first in-between seasons balance patch. RTA, like real-time arena, is disabled right now as we roll into official season 1. So like the preseason, season 0 is over, and they said that this is when they're going to do balance patches, and all eyes are right here on this shell, Revelation. And you know what? Like, I am in a camp. My camp is this: if you straight up nerf Revelation, you might break the game. PvE in this game is 100% balanced around this shell because the amount of like AoE big damage you need with how hard Inferno modes are, you just need it. Like, Revelation is just needed in this game for your AoE multi-hitting DPS classes. However, it's stupid in PvP. This shell, something has to change. So I am in two camps, and I'm firmly in these camps. Camp 1, if you just nerf this shell, Inferno game modes might become unplayable again, and we kind of cycle back to this point where like they're already nerfing those. So what are they, how are they going to rebalance everything? That seems like a mess. Also, look at this right here. This is Kazuyo the Reverie. She's a crowd control unit. She's an SR unit. And you know, you can play around SR crowd control units. Like, you know, she's probably going to be 300 plus speed if you're finding her in PvP, and she's going to put you to sleep, but do you have a way of surviving that? Do you have a way of resisting that? Then you're fine. However, you throw Revelation on her, make her crit, like look at this build right here. We're at 93% crit, 96% effect accuracy, 305 speed, and 2200 attack. Here's what this unit does. She goes early on in a fight, 305, like this isn't the perfect cause, but 305 is still pretty fast for a DPS AoE crowd control hybrid unit. So then she's going to AoE your team. She's going to do half your team's HP and damage and probably put them to sleep. That's way too good. Like, this character does way too many things, and several of those things in PvP she wasn't meant to do because of this shell. So something does have to change for the PvP side with Revelation, and how they handle this will be the most important balance update that we get in this preseason. And personally, I'm going to go over some ideas for like what they could do. I think there's some really good ideas floating around out there, but I hope that they like are willing to try something, give it a few minutes, give it a few days, and then maybe try something else, like before a new unit comes out, and kind of like, I encourage everybody out there to like allow the changes to happen. But there was a really good Reddit post. This is by Once Was Blind, a self-proclaimed, and like, we know this guy, a high-ranked player, right? Top 20 PvP player in the game. And he had some ideas on how to work with Revelation. In fact, he's recommending some balance changes. We're going to focus on issue 1 for most of this video. His Revelation ideas. So here he says this: most of the game, both PvE and PvP, is balanced around this shell. I would agree that PvE is balanced around this shell, and I wouldn't say that PvP is balanced around this shell. I would say the meta has evolved around this shell, and that's the issue. So, but you, more or less, I agree with this point right there. Changing it, therefore, breaks too many things. That's what I was just saying. So instead, we should ask, why is it so strong? And I think it's simply because it provides more stat value than can be contested with. And in any game that is like a PvP game, League of Legends, any game where like, if something is just being used all the time by classes and characters that it's not like meant for, devs will come in and balance that thing out a little bit. Now, there's two ways to balance. You can boost things up, which makes the community usually feel pretty good if you give boosts to things that were undervalued, and there's plenty of underbalanced, you know, underpowered things in this game. Or you can bring that down, or do both. Like League of Legends, for example, which is one of the longest running PvP online games right now, regularly does both, but those games are hardly comparable. There's a more of a, you know, an outplay element in League of Legends than there is here. Anyway, let's continue. You could turn any debuffer also into a damage dealer just by throwing 100% crit rate on them, as I just showed with Kaz, and as a result, many units can be 320 speed, so there's much better ones than the one that I was using, on 100% crit rate and 100 to 150% effect accuracy, which literally is like just for this video, I threw that together. In like 2 seconds, I was able to make a 300 plus speed cause with basically 100% crit rate and 100% effect accuracy. It's crazy the amount of things you could do. So here's the 2 ways that he suggests fixing this. He says option 1, boost effect resistance. Now this could be a really good idea for PvP. I don't want to see effect resist globally boosted if it touches the mobs in the game. We already have too much of a problem crowd controlling mobs in like Doki Doki consistently. Like, if you boost effect resist, it needs to just be in PvP. And like, we're moving to the point where we're already gonna, hopefully in this next coming up patch, start differentiating between PvE gear sets, PvP gear sets. Let's also just like, if we're going to adjust effect resist in some way to counter Revelation, not directly, but to counter like Obel and Sonya and these Revelation users that are also crowd controlling you, just make it for the characters. Anyway, defenders do not have a similar stat value advantage, correct. They cannot build both sufficient effect resist and defense to offset the stat value advantage Revelation provides, because again, it's one character with Revelation just doing too many things. You just can't counter it all. And it makes building not fun. It makes building for PvP less fun, so they need to fix it, I think. So if all sources of effect resistance were boosted by like 50%, this would force attackers with a choice. If they want to be able to prioritize debuffs, they have to forsake building the crit and build into effect accuracy. That's it. If I see Kazuyo the Reverie, I just want to know, is she DPS Kaz with Revelation, or is she crowd control Kaz with another shell? I don't mind if she can do both. I don't want her to do both at the same time. That's too good. Or they can trust their 100% effect accuracy, but not be able to hard lock down units. And that's the frustrating part right here too. Like, even if you build, and there's going to be people in the comment section, because for some reason, Revelation just has these like die-hard defenders. And I really don't understand where they're coming from. Maybe you can let me know. But like, look, it's annoying. You can build Bloodbath, right? You can build defense gear sets to live through the first turn. You can mitigate an entire, like 2 Revelation procs from 2 different characters on your team. You can live through it with like clever shell and clever gear builds. Then Kaz cycles back around. It's like sleep, sleep, sleep. And Obel's like, oh, yep, dispel. Oh, my turn's back up again. Crowd control. And you end up in these like really long fights where you barely ever get to take a turn. And all of their damage stalls out until Revelation procs again, and then they kill you. And like, what are we doing? That's just, it's not a good way to play the game. So adding effect resist and making those characters choose, I like that idea for Once Was Blind. I think that's pretty solid. Now, option 2, this one could get crazy. He says, buff existing shells and animi, plural for animus. I really don't know if that's true or not, but it's funny to say. Buff existing shells and anime. Buff the anime. We need more options and stronger options for handling debuffs. Currently, there are only 2 characters who can consistently clear debuffs. I hardcore agree with this. Ling and Sonya are your consistent debuff clearers, or Doki Doki. And he actually says that. Yeah, he says players who are lucky enough to pull Doki Doki. I'm lucky enough to have Doki Doki. Oh my gosh. Like, I pull her out. She's like my slot 3 protected pick at RTA a lot of times. Oh man, she's so good against this stuff. Except that they could just kill her. Anyway, allow us more options. Buff Mia's skill 3 so she can cleanse debuffs. This would be an excellent change, and it would give Mia a huge spot in the upcoming meta, because she can already like wipe out Bulwark with her skill 2. If you could have Mia be a multi-use support class, because her healing is not on par with the Sonyas and Lingluos of the world, but give her a little more support options there. I would love to see that for Mia. Give more characters inherent immunity to certain CC, like Valerian. We do have the upcoming new DPS character that is a step in that direction, but we'll see what her kit looks like for real when she comes out. And then this is an important one. Have Alicorn just cleanse all debuffs instead of just 2. I agree with this totally, because this is one of the areas where like, it's so, like Obel, for example. If he stuns you and also puts like 3 dots on you, and then you get slept by Kaz, you now have like 5 debuffs. And then Alicorn's like, cool, I cleared 2 dots. How do you feel about that? You're like, not good. The whole reason for running this shell is that it can cleanse, and if it doesn't cleanse enough, then like, it would sure make my investment into Alicorn as a way to try like counter this meta more consistent. It would give me an option because I'm foregoing healing, I'm foregoing damage, I'm foregoing everything but a cleanse to run Alicorn, and if it can't cleanse the debuffs, what's the point of that shell? It's useless. So I think this would be really good. Yeah, and he says, I don't even think it'd take too much of a shift to balance. Players just need more options. And that's it. This is what we talk about all the time. And this applies more broadly to Etheria Restart as well. And I'll jump back into game for a second. I think I will. Hello, buttons. I'll just manually do it. Anyway, I'll jump back into game for a second. More options is the big deal. And that would be true, not just for PvE, but for PvP. Like if there was just more teams that could beat Rengokutsu, that would just be nice, right? Just bring this thing back in line with what we need to do. And then if they want to start adding Inferno 2, that is like the current Inferno 1 levels, and it guaranteed drops with like only the mythic level shells, that would be awesome. But more options, more ways to build, because we have so many animuses in this game. So many. Like you collect all these toys and you want to play with them all, but my god, if you don't have Kaz built and ready to go, you can't contest that pick in RTA. You are just giving it to the enemy, and now you must deal with it. And so you're forced into building against it unless you want to build it yourself, and then you're forced into like picking it early. It's annoying. It stales out the meta a little bit, in my opinion, and I would love to see some changes. So personally for me, I have enough materials to start leveling up another character. Maybe somebody like an Obel, if this is the meta that just keeps sticking around. But I'm holding those materials until we see what this next balance patch does, and until we see just how good in reality the new character that comes out is. I'm going to be gone for most of the rest of this week. We're taking a little end of summer break vacation, just the wife and I, to Miami, so I won't be around for like the release of the character, for all that. I mean, I'll just be on my phone in airports and stuff playing the game. So you won't hear a lot from me until the upcoming weekend after tomorrow, but I'll have a lot of thoughts by then. I'm sure that I will. So there we go, guys. Those are my thoughts on Revelation. I think it needs changed, and I think if you just nerf it, you break PvE, so you have to change all of PvE at the same time. I hope they don't go that route. I would like Revelation to stay as good as it is in PvE while just being dealt with on the PvP side. There was once Blind's ideas. Let me know your ideas. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.